Welcome back, everyone. Well, here comes Misty. Hi, Misty. Here, say hi to everyone. Say hi, everyone. There you go. Well, let's see what we're doing with this. So you might have seen in the last video when my daughter Brittany was here, and when we were in Kentucky, a fox got in and killed one of our brownies. They're ruins, but we call them brownies. And I think he jumped over the fence back there, but regardless, you know, we put up this fence, never had a problem. It's been up here for almost 3 years, I guess, or 2 years at least. But you know, if they jump on it, it'll go down, and I think he might have cleared it. He actually grabbed the duck from out here, or I think he was back there. Yeah, you probably saw it, Misty, right? And then he jumped over, and then Brittany saw him up there. So anyway, we can't have them getting picked off, so we've got to leave them inside unless I can sit here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically, like what we call the prison fence that we've got in the back. It'll be a 6-foot 9-gauge chain link with you know, a 1-foot barbed wire on top of that. So I'm not going to do the whole enclosure. It's about 200 linear feet altogether. I'm going to save this gate. New pole. That's too short. That one's actually a little too short. I got to figure out what I'm going to do, because I don't want to have to take that apart. It's like 4 inches too short. I don't know if I'll weld a piece on top of it, or I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe I'll wrap a clamp around it, because basically it'll be just holding that barbed wire end. It's going to go down where it is there. Basically, it's going to follow that, and it's going to go into the side of where they sleep. So that's a 10-foot enclosure there. So it'll be on the back side, and then this one I'm going to bring off the front side, right where the gate is that you go into it. Come out here and over to where I am. This gate will be eliminated. So that's what I'm going to do. So I got 24 posts to put in, so 2 bags per hole. I got a whole pallet, 42 80-pounders, and Misty's gonna help me, right, Misty? You gonna help? Okay, I like that. All right, so let's get started. I got to take this fence down, get the skid steer out, get the auger, blah blah blah. Just what I need to do. My daughter said, "Oh, you might get into the new house like in 28." I said, "Yeah, if we're lucky at this rate, but you know, we can't have them getting picked off." What do you think, duckies? They're having their scratch. That's their afternoon snack. I think what I'll do, because I don't want to have to leave them in there the whole time when I'm doing it, and I'm out here, it won't matter. I think I'm going to take this end and bring it over to there, and then I'll take that end and move the back side and move it over, and then they can be out in that area at least. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I don't want them where I can't see them. I may just bring that in, but I'll give them in a little area that they can that they can walk around in. I'm going to be working in, but I'm going to be working in this whole area, so I don't want to leave them locked in the whole time. And I've said this before, but the problem with tandem parking is, no matter what I do, what I need is always way blocked in. And I moved everything around. Long story, but I moved everything around. The lift is now on that side. You see the Ranger's out. Because this truck had to get out. That's usually parked over there. Yeah, I guess it's tough, right? I got it tough, but I gotta complain. Alright, so I not only have to move the vehicles around, I gotta move some attachments around, and it's still cold, so that's why I'm idled pretty low. But let's get this unlocked, get the forks on. I'm doing another fix at the same time, which you'll see on video. I just don't know if you'll see it before this one or after this one. So I can't say what it is, and if I don't say, you'll already know if you saw it. So let's see if this will go. 1, 2, good to go. You gotta be careful. Sometimes you get some dirt in those. I usually try to keep it clean, but sometimes, oh, I think these are too wide. Let's see. Are they too wide? Yep. I had this wide for picking up the siding. All right, let me slide those in. All right, unfortunately they're not like a tow motor where they can slide themselves in and out. So we're good to go. This is warm now. Warm enough, I should say. And this truck, I don't even know if you'll be able to see. The guy at Lowe's, I bought these at Lowe's, and he jammed he put the forks right through one of the bags. I took a picture of it so they can give me credit. I'm gonna put it in the lean-to because I'll probably bring it out with the tractor rather than the skid steer. This is easier to see. It's harder to pick up out of a truck with the tractor. This is about 3,500 pounds, so pretty sure the tractor can pick that up. This one obviously lifts more, but so I'm gonna leave that there. And I gotta switch over and put the I gotta put the auger on, but I'll get that in another shot. See, there's a whole bunch of concrete left right there. So half the bag got left between the guy's forks on the bumper, on the ground, and there. And well, the good thing is I won't have to carry this over because I did get, this is for our shower in our house. It's gonna be a 6 by 9 shower, so I'm building the shower pan. You need pea gravel around the drain on the base layer, that before you put the membrane down, the shower pan liner. So now I won't have to carry it to the house, so that's good. So I got to put this away, I got to put this back in, put those away, and then get the auger, because the auger is in front of the Ranger. So I'll just show you where it is. It's right there. So no matter what I do, things are always in the wrong place. Oh, and another pro tip, if any of you ever want to go and get anything loaded at either Lowe's or Home Depot, and usually lumber yards are pretty good, but Lowe's or Home Depot, they do not have people that know how to drive tow motors, forklifts, whatever you want to call them. Take the tailgate off, because if you think they can get it in there with the tailgate on there, and put a trailer hitch, because otherwise they'll still bash into your bumper. So, and then he's like, he left it like hanging way out, even with this, with nothing. And I'm like, no, I think you got to go in a little more, don't you think? Oh, I don't think it'll fit. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I said, I do this all the time. He goes, yeah, but I don't. I could tell. All right, we're all hooked up. I will go check the air pressure in the tires, and then I'll be set for the morning to go pick up the fence. Kind of a little overkill. This trailer's a little overkill, but like I said, my other ones got stuff on them. All right, at the fence supplier, They're all loaded up. Big Tex is a little overkill, but the other ones are in use, so it worked out good. All right, let's get home. And of course I come in to get it, and this is the pallet that they gave me from the fence place, and it's a mini one. So I gotta move these in one thing. Oh, that was easier than normal. Usually this one doesn't like to move them. And if you're saying, well, there's a GoPro, that one doesn't have battery in it. I have them charging. I have 4 of them, but of course I let them all go dead. And this is also the reason why I don't like to use this. This is hydraulic shift, so I can shift without the clutch, meaning forwards or reverse, but I still have to, it has to be in gear, you know, it's in gear, so I either have to use the clutch. I can't stand up because, well, you can't really see where I'm seeing, but I can't see the forks unless I stand up here. And then the tips kind of disappear. Like, this is why I don't like using this, because I can't see it and I can't control it. But I did pretty good. Like, you don't get fine controls because I can't put the clutch down. So all I can do is put it into neutral and hit the brake. Half the time when you put it into neutral, it'll go into reverse, or vice versa. So you can't win. I put that one over there because most of the, I mean, all the poles are from here. So at least it's in walking distance. It's out of my way when I have the skid steer over here, because I'll be coming in from the back way and going that way, since that pole is staying. So that should be fine. And the only other thing I got to bring over are the 20-foot top rails. I may just back the trailer up for that though, because then I can just roll them right off over here. All right, so pulling out this fence is not as fun as I thought it would be. I've got staples in the bottom of it that we put in to staple the fabric down. And boy, I'll tell you, they're doing their job. I'm trying to, you know, and the grass is all grown in them, so the ducks want to come out. But sorry, boys, you gotta wait now. Like I said, I'll be able to trap them in the back there, but right now I can't. So I'm taking the staples out as I go because I don't want them to get lost. I'm going to run the mower over this before I mark my holes for this line and those lines there. So this is going to be a little tedious, this part, but once I can get the tractor out here, I'll pull out the T-posts, and I've got to pull out these 2 posts right here, this one and that one, take the gate apart, because this will have to be replaced just to a terminal post, and another one over there. So I got to pull those out, but I want to get this tedious part done first. All right, I got the fence all out, ran the mower over it. That one I couldn't pull out, so I'll use the tractor to pull that one out. Got to pull those 2 out. Those are concrete on them, so not pulling those out by hand. Got all that pushed back. I got a string on that end of their sleeping pen. This one is not exactly in line. Well, it is in line, it's just a smaller tubing, so it doesn't really line up exactly. So I just want to get this outside one here. And I've got a level. I gotta pull that past a little bit. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but that's about when I put the pipe in down that end, the terminal post, it'll work. All right, so that's about it right there. And I will get once I get this one in here, I will square it off that one so I can get where it's gonna go here. Clean your tip. All right, I gotta take that gate apart. Well, I'm only taking the hinge. I mean, I'm leaving the hinge side. I'm gonna take the other post out. All right, let's pull this post out. Let's see how much concrete I used. I don't remember. 2 bags? Probably has 2 bags. All right, everything's marked out. Pretty much the only one that's not marked out is that end one, because I don't know exactly. I know where to dig the hole, and I'll set the post exactly where it's got to be once I get that one in down there. But I'm going to start over back that way and work my way up this way. I've got to be careful. That's where I buried the duck who got killed, so I don't want to drive over that. And of course, I'm in regen right now, so I can't even cut the sound down, you know, the engine down, so you could hear better. I marked it with paint on there, so I know roughly how deep to go. That's all there is to it. All right, I guess leaving the camera right there wasn't a good idea, was it? Well, regen is over, so that's a good thing. Keep the dirt inside. This is a low spot right here, so all right. So these are called terminal posts. They're 2 3/8 thicker gauge. I forget what it is. 7 gauge, I think. I don't know. Can't remember. And the line posts are 1 7/8, and those are a little bit thinner, I believe. Don't really know why. Just makes it cheaper overall for the job, I suppose. But I'll show you how to mark them. But basically, I dry set these concrete. It's about this is a 12-inch diameter hole, and it takes about 2 bags of 80-pound concrete to fill them in. And I put a little water in the bottom. I do it in lifts. I pack it in. I'll show you. The battery died, right? I got about 4 clips of like 4 seconds, and then it shut off, so I couldn't get it. But I'll show it on that one. And I tamp it down with a post hole tamper, and then I just put water on top of it like that, and sets up. It's nice and sturdy once it goes in, and I will put dirt over top of it just to fill in the little bit over the top of that. So that's about it. I'll show you how to mark them. And I've got, what you do first is you set the terminal posts, you put a string on them, and then you can set the line posts in about 1/4 inch from that, because it's thinner. It's about 3/8 thinner, right? So if you go just about 1/4 inch back, it'll be fine. And you continue. So hi Floof. I'm gonna set that one and that one, and then I will start on the line posts and work my way around. And unfortunately, I didn't do it yet, but the ones up against the house I have to hand dig, which is no big deal. This is easy digging. But so I've got hey ducks, I had to drill a hole in the roof so that could fit through because of the overhang. There is no overhang on this side, but I don't want to take a chance on catching if I caught the fabric. It's a little bit too close because the motor sticks past, so I just have to dig this one, and that's that. All right, so I don't know if you can see the difference there, but you could fit those inside it. These are the line posts, but for these I pre-mark it, so I know where it goes in the ground, and I know where the top band will go. So this is a 6-foot fabric, it's chain link, but they call it fabric. So it's a 6 foot, so 16 1/4 down, and then 87 down, and that bit goes in the ground. So the easiest way to do this is if you just hold your hand down on it like this and just rotate the pipe and don't move your hand. Just keep the pressure down like that, and perfect. Because if you try to go around it freehand, it's not going to come around. I mean, you can take a piece of paper and wrap it around, but that takes a lot of time, and bingo. All right, so I put some concrete in the bottom with water, and then I stabbed the post down over it, so I get concrete up inside the post as well, so that it's solid there. And then I give it a tamping, and I've got 2 levels on there, as you can see, magnetic. So I tamp it, keeping it good. You don't want to bang too hard in any one spot, otherwise you can move the post. And again, it's concrete, so it's going to harden up. So I put a little water, and I also wet the sides of the hole, so this way it sucks the water out of the hole from the dirt. Keep a bag handy. Get the tamper again, keeping it even, keep checking it. Perfect. Didn't move it. By doing it this way, you can set your fabric. Well, you can't set the fabric, but you can get your framework up and work on it, because this, like I said, this is just like tamping down, if you did dirt or you do stone, or and it gets as hard. Obviously it'll get a little bit harder once the once the concrete dries. And then I just take this and I repeat the process. And I can follow, like to get these where they have to go, I just extrapolate the paint lines. So you can see I'm right in line with those, then I'll do that one next. And it's just wash, rinse, repeat. That's it. Oh, and the other reason for leaving the concrete a little bit below the line is if the ground is off, you may need to use, in this instance, I want nothing to be able to climb underneath it, crawl underneath it. So you want this fabric to be as close to the ground. And in some places, if it goes up or down without like making the fence go up on an angle, you can just let part of it go into the ground. But if you got the concrete there, then you won't be able to do it. So, and that little bit doesn't matter if you leave it 2 inches below. And it's nice, especially in a yard, to let something grow around it rather than see concrete. All right, so for the line posts, what I do, a lot of people just tie off to the post, but it tends to want to move back inside the edge, so to speak. So what I do is I just use 2 pins, and this way I run it back on an angle, and like that. So this way you're getting the outside of each side. All right, so then when I take the post, it'll end up about like that. So you've got about 5/16, quarter inch back, because that gets it in the center of that post, which is where it needs to be. So that's how you do it. And then you've got your, I extrapolate the paint line so I know where to put it. And again, this isn't exact science. If you're off by an inch, it's not going to matter, because you'll never tell an inch. I mean, you don't want to be way off, but I mean, but it's hard to be off when you've got the extrapolated lines on both sides, which it's under here, if you can see it right there. But you only need one. All right, I'm on the home stretch. The ducks are very interested. I think they know a fence is coming. So I got my line stretched, so you can see I went past, I did like with the pins, and I've got my pin down there, so this way I know where because that's also a line post. I mean, it's a terminal post, that's not a line post. And that one there is actually the size of a terminal post, because it's holding the gate. But I am going to put, you'll see there's going to be barbed wire. There's a barbed wire holder on top here, so I'm going to have to put it inside. You'll see when I do it. I'll show you how I'm going to do it, because they don't make one, or they do make it, but the supply house where I go doesn't have it. So there's the line. So last one. Well, it's not really the last one, but there's only a few over there. All right, so what I do when there's a gate, obviously the gate is here, is you don't try to measure for where the post is going to go. Actually set, I've already set that one. You set the gate, then you set the hinge side like that. So this way it's in place. You don't have to bend it. Everything will be plumb. And if you look, I mean, that's dead straight. Beautiful. And that's kind of what you do when you set a post, is you look with the same eye. You look at this side, you look at that side, and you say, even though you're on the line, you plumb it. But if you can move it so it's perfectly straight, that's how you want to do it. So you really don't even need a level. Once you get the first ones, you could kind of level them by eye, even though I still use a level. But just showing you how it comes out. All right, so these are the barbed wire extensions. There's 3. It makes it come up a foot. So as I talked about, this is a terminal post here, and they, at least our supplier, didn't sell it, but I'll show you how to make that work. These normally sit over. It actually is nicer this way. But if you look right here, see if I can put it down, where they weld it. If you just take a grinder and grind that off on both sides, it slips right in and comes right to the same place, because you see it has a floor in there. So I didn't cut this one yet, but that's where it's got to get cut. But So you see they're kind of loose. You can put a screw in there after if you want to hold it in place. Once everything's in it, it's not going to move. But like I said, it goes in like that because I wasn't changing that post, and it was perfect height. I'm going 69.25 for a 72-inch fence. So you take a string, run it down, get your mark over there. The ground is fairly flat here, so as long as it's within a, you know, a half an inch, it'll work out. And I've already marked them all, but I forgot to video it, so I stopped quickly and kind of just hooked it back up again. But so that's basically how you get your tops. And like I said, the barb extension goes on first, but before those go in, you want to put on your brace bands and your tension bands that you need, so you don't have to open them up. You can just slide them over the top. Except I'm going to have to open them up on this one, unfortunately, because the brace bands are pretty tight. But I would have to undo the gate, and I don't think I feel like doing that. So I'm just going to put them on and close them back up. All right, everything is on. All the top rail, the barbed wire extensions, got all the brackets for the barbed wire stacked up, ready to go. The corners, there's 6 of them. I'll show you. Let me show these, how you stack them. So you want the carriage bolt side to be to the outside of the fence, so the nuts are on the inside. So you want to make them even on both sides so that the wire will be level, or as close to it as possible. So it doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you do them the same. So these are all stacked up, ready to go. They'll pull that way and this way. And so what I'm doing right now is putting the tension wire on the bottom. And so you've got a brace band right there wrapped around. Use a tie on each line post. You could do it on each one. I'm just wrapping it around, so I'm not gonna have to pull, tension on each one. So basically, what I have is a wire pulling tool. It will work for barbed wire and for this hard stranded wire. Hook it up with a strap. All right, so this is how I set up. So this is like this is like a 90-foot pull here. 2 corners. It'll still pull around the corner. That one's a little high, but I'm just gonna take up a little bit of slack before I go and drop that one down. Again, you want to be about 3 inches. It'll vary. I've never pulled one quite this far, but we'll see how it goes. You could snap it. Hopefully it doesn't. I wouldn't do more than those 2 turns. It's getting tight. So this end is good. This end is good too. It just needs to be lifted up. All right. That's good. Hopefully I can get one of these where you could see it. I don't have my head cam, and the sun is not in a great position. So the first thing is, these ties come with a pre-bent angle on it. So you've got to bend that around like that. Get it up to your desired height. This is the part you won't be able to see. Bend it around. And the more wraps that you can get on it, like when you wrap it, you want to wrap it towards the wire, because then you'll get some friction from it. You see that? So that stays right there, and it's holding tension, you know, slip tension. So by the time you do all these, when I let go of that come along, it's not really going to loosen up much. And I'll show you how I tighten the last bit. All right, so I set it up like this. I put the come along up like that. I get the brace band on the bottom with the nut not tight, but just enough to hold it in place. And then I just crank the tension, tighten that down because it'll put tension on the wire, and then I just cut it and bend it over. I guess this is hard to show, but you can see the tension come up on it. And that's good. I just tighten that up and cut it, bend it, and it's done. All right, so there it is, wrapped up. You can see how when you crank down on it, it tightens up on the wire, which is nice, so you can let go and it's still holding, but you still wrap it. And again, it doesn't have to be, you know, you don't have to be playing a guitar string tight, you know, it just has to be tight, but not super tight. The other thing I would suggest if you do this by yourself is get these, I think they call them banana clips. They're not very expensive, but they hold pressure, you know, they are anti-sliding as well, plus they space it nicely above the top rail. But it's really the only way to do it by yourself. So what I do right now is I get it like this. I'm going to get this tension bar in here, get this all set so at least it's on there, and then I'll work my way down. And they don't roll this. If you've never unrolled one of these, it's not in a roll. It's kind of stacked in there, so you can pull it apart, but it still leaves enough that you could stand it up, if that makes any sense. If it was on a roll, you would have to like stand the whole roll up, but with this you don't have to. The only thing you have to make sure of is when they get shipped, a lot of the bottoms get hooked on each other because they were rolled or bent too tightly, and then they catch on each other. So that's one thing you got to fight with a little bit, is you got to get in there, unhook them. And what I do is I just take needle nose and I just close them back up again. Because if you look, you know, if you look right there, you see how open that is. That will catch everything. But if you look at the way they should be, it should be like that. So I just kind of fix those because it makes a stronger fence anyway if it's bent over. You can see right there. I'm going to go and fix those now and fix this. All right, so I got it temporarily. That's 50 feet rolled out, so I've got to weave in the last little bit, but I've got this already stretched tight, so I'm just trying to align the top. And again, I really, you know, you'd like it to look like that, where the diamond is half on, like that. But the problem is, I don't want it off the ground at all. So I'm kind of following the ground a little bit. In the back, I had to dig out a little bit. So it's not going to be perfect, and it is what it is. But this is another tool that you probably want to get if you're doing it by yourself. Those banana clips work really well. I've only got 6 of them, so it's hard. And if you start taking those off, it's going to take the tension off, because those hold the tension pretty well as well. So this is another tool that holds it up. So I'm going to get this area situated, all tied up, and then I can move my banana clips down and get it woven and then stretch the rest of it. But I've already stretched this part because I want to put the fence together when it's not super tight when I weave it together, because otherwise it's pretty hard to weave together. What do you think, Misty? You're in the prison side. I thought she was missing all day. She wasn't helping me, but she was all covered in dirt. She must have been sleeping in the we have a old fox den that all the cats go in, so she must have gone in there because it was cold last night. Get the buggy. Get him. Get him. All right, so I want to show the ties. I got these speed ties. That's a regular tie that you have to tie by yourself. This is pre-bent. It's a lot thicker, it's a lot stronger, and they don't bend. So what you do is you put it over. You can go, I'm going every 7 roughly. So here, look how tight that is versus this is when you tie by hand. You still need some of the hand ties to do some of that stuff, but with these, I mean, they're great. So this can be hard to do one-handed because I don't have my head strap. But this goes on here like this, so you need 2 hands. But there is a, I don't know if it'll pick it up, but there's a slot in there. So you want the slot to be horizontal, and you can see where it is if you look in that hole. So let's see if I can get it. So I pre-bend them because once you push it around, it gets wider. So you want to pre-bend it, and then I just turn it 90 degrees parallel to the fence, and you want to make sure this goes all the way and hits the post. And you just do that, and it cuts off the piece, and it nicely twists it. So these are well worth it, and actually they're really no more money. Look how tight that is. That doesn't even move. So that works great. So I've got those on the top as well, and on the posts. I'll put a link to them. So I'm going to get that set up, and then I'll weave in. Actually, I've got like, I don't know, 6 or 7 feet left over in there. I'm going to weave that in first, and then get the remainder of what I need, and then the last one will be that 18-foot run, roughly, give or take. So it's getting there, but you can see how those banana clips work nicely. I got to put one in that section right there, or I can use the other tool. These work a little better for when you're actually fastening them, because you can get these out easier. You just turn these sideways and they come right out. See, they're in there strongly. Is that a word, strongly? But if I had 2 more, it would be good. So if you got a long run, buy 2 packs of them. Get 12. All right, I'm joining that leftover 6-foot or 8-foot, whatever it was, that I've got. And what you do, so you can see, you've got you need 1 fence with a full diamond. So here's a full diamond, and then you need it so that you've got a half a diamond. And if you took one apart, you know, I took one apart to have this leftover, you're going to save the straw. That's what they call it. It's a straw, and it's like a corkscrew, really. And you're just going to corkscrew this like that. It'll just go, pretty much goes on its own. It's easier to do when you're not holding a camera. I can't find my head strap. It's somewhere. I had it when I started, but I don't know where it is. So basically that's what you do, and that will lock it together. So, and then you just have to put the knuckle. This is called a knuckle right here. So you have to join them back at the top and the bottom, and this way they can't unravel. So that's how you do it. It's easy. I think it's easier to do it. Some people do it laying down while they're laying down and join them, but I think it's easier just to do it like this. Just hang it with the banana clips, and then it makes it easy. All right, another tip for unrolling this by yourself, because basically what I'm showing you is how to do it by yourself, as in the title of the video. When just unrolling these can be a pain, but what you want to do is get it rolled in the direction where you see the end of this plastic. They all put plastic down at the ends, and if you can find the end, it will unravel in the opposite direction. So as you can see, it's going towards the fence, but you know, so that's how you know. Otherwise you get it going in the wrong direction. If, you know, need be, you can turn it around. And then the other thing you've got to do is make sure that because it's not really rolled, it's basically piled. Hard to explain it, but it's it's not rolled, which it makes it easier to install that way if you were going to do it with two people, because you can start it on that end and you're not having to lift the whole roll. So I do like the way they do it, but you have to make sure that all your diamonds are right. Misty, you gonna help? Who said I was doing it by myself? You know, you gotta fix those before you go on, because the way a lot of the bottoms open up and they'll get hooked on each other. And yes, Misty, you tell them. You don't know what's going on, but you, right? So that's just a little tip on that. And then the other thing, what I do when I want to stretch it out, when I get my approximate length, is I use a couple of form pins and I bang them down like that, so I can keep this pulled tight, so when I make a measurement it's accurate. So after I pulled out that straw, what I do is I go down and I close all the knuckles. One side is pretty much always closed. I don't know why, but however they put these together, or maybe in shipping it bends, but it's the left side on these anyway that's open, and it's open quite a bit. So I just close those down, because they will catch on everything, and when you're trying to unroll it, they get all twisted up and locked together. So that's just another little tip that I found that makes it much easier. All right, I found my head cam. I'll try to give you a little live view of how I do it. So again, you don't really want to roll this up, but kind of make it in that direction and try to keep the part that you know where the top is. And inevitably it'll get messed up, and ultimately you'd want to do this closer, but I have no good place over there. I either had to go back there or here, because it's kind of rough terrain here. So once I get this part kind of where it needs to go is where I get the banana clip out, and inevitably it's always in the wrong, because I rolled it up the wrong way. And these kind of just go in like that and stay on the outside like that. But see how that's holding that now, and then you just kind of unroll this, try to keep it as close as possible, and get your second one, if it'll come out of your pouch. And like that. So that'll get it close. So now what I've got to do, and I should have done it while it was down there, is you need to have half a diamond. That's what I forgot to tell you and for myself. I'm so used to having one, because when I take pieces out, like the next piece is a half a diamond. So I should have taken this one out, but I didn't. So you've got to take this straw out and then put it back in, and that's what weaves it together, because that ultimately needs to be like that. But that's how I get it into place. And also another tip is try to make sure the bottom is in where it needs to be. That also makes it be a little bit easier. And then you can see if you need to dig it down, if you've got a hump or something. Here it's going to have to come up, I believe, so I don't have to worry about it. All right, so let me show you the weaving. So there's the straw up in the air, and you can see it. You can see it coming down. So basically it just corkscrews around like that. Hopefully you can see it. And as long as you don't have tension on it, you know, both of these are lax, and that's what's nice about those banana clips, is you're not trying to hold up the weight of the fence, and because when you're by yourself, that's not an easy thing, is it? So you just have to work it down just like that. I mean, it goes fairly quickly, and you got to make sure you close that knuckle on the bottom, otherwise, like I said, you're gonna wish you did, because it's gonna get stuck on everything. It's not as bad when you're putting it together, but when you're taking it apart, if you don't close that up, I mean, you can cut them off. Like if I know I'm not gonna need the straw again, I'll just cut the bottom off, so then I don't even have to worry about any part of it sticking out. And obviously, when you get near the bottom, you start to get a little bit of tension because it's touching the ground. But that's that. And then you just put these two knuckles together again, and then the one on the top. So that's it. All right, here's another shot of how I stretch. So I've got the stretcher hooked to the bumper. I've got the banana clips up there holding it in place. You want to stretch it just enough that you can still squeeze these a little bit, because if you go too much, it whacks them out of shape, bends them out of shape. And then what I do, I've already done it, but I come back down this end and then I crank this a little bit more, because on a long run you could almost need to pull it in the middle a little bit. And then I'll put on my ties, and also on the line posts I'll put my ties on there, and that will keep it from loosening up. And here I had to dig down a little bit, because like I said, I don't want this up. I'm going to have to add some dirt over there, kind of like what I did over there. So I've only got these 3 left to go. This one, I've got the long one, and I've got this piece. So that's going to be a full one. I still have about 6 or 7 feet left. I'll probably weave it in, and then, because I don't want to have a bunch of little pieces left over. And then I'll get this one last. But I just wanted to show that how I do it anyway, and it seems to work pretty well. Here's another look at stretching. So I did the main pull with the regular fence stretcher, but when I get to the end, they sell, I forget what they call them, but they sell clamps that go around. You know, it grabs onto the tension bar and then it goes around, and they're like 60, 70 bucks. So I just find these work just as well. And it's probably a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about snapping your fingers in them, where you can just crank these. So this is the hardest part, when you got to do this by yourself, because you got to be inside, because the carriage bolt is on the outside, and then you've got to try to get it squeezed, and you really need 3 hands or a second person. But if you don't, you just kind of got to go inside and reach your fingers through, and probably drop it 3 or 4 times. But I haven't dropped one yet on this corner, but now I'm sure. Another tip: keep a small pair of vice grips and clamp your tension bar to the to the fabric right there, so that you keep it in the top diamond. Hey, Misty. And the bottom, so this way, because otherwise they're just long enough and they'll fall down and you'll miss one or the other. So it just works out better if you keep that in there, and it makes it nice. What do you think, Misty? Is that all right? Okay. All right, I'm almost done with these. And like I said, and previously I couldn't find my headset, but I got it now. So I just want to show these quick ties. These are amazing. So there's the tool. You align it right there and you spin it, and that's it. I mean, it's that fast. You just up, spin, on to the next one. The only thing you got to check out, sometimes a piece of it gets stuck when it snaps it off, but for the most part it usually will do it. You just got to align it with those two so it goes in. Now I pre-bent these with my fingers, so you got to squeeze these in. After you put them on, it expands them, so you got to get Anatoly thumbs by the time you're done with this. But you just push it on like that, mean, that's how fast. You wouldn't even, let me show a regular tie. Like here, it's not even tied that well because I knew I wasn't leaving it on. But you could not tie one of those. You couldn't do one as fast as I just did the whole run. So I just have to do these now. You know, the only bad thing is it leaves this. It's not the most beautiful thing, but look how tight that is. I mean, a regular tie is never that tight. So I like them. All right, time for the barbed wire. So this is my setup, how I'm going to do it. They do make machines, if you do this all the time, you can set it with 3 spools and it will run all 3 of them out at the same time, but we're not going to be that fancy. So this will work. I'll pull it down. This is 70 feet. So this will just about finish this roll. I'll probably have to go into another one, but I've got a bunch of rolls. So this is the fun part. Got to put on the gloves. All right, and the one thing you got to watch out with this stuff is the way that they wind it. It's very, you see, it wants to stay in that winding pattern. So you got to watch out on your hand because it's definitely going to want to get stuck on your glove. And watch out when you let it go. Or you put a hole in the hose. Oh man, that's not good. See what I mean? It wants to twist my hand up. I can't even get my hand out of the glove. Let me show you. Whoa, there's a lot of pressure on that. I gotta protect the hose. All right, so on the ends where you are on a terminal post, you need to get, you've got brace bands for that. So you have to take off the barbs. You need to have enough free cable. So basically you just take a pair of needle nose or you know, electrician pliers, and you can untwist those barbs. That just comes right off. It's not really attached, they're just wrapped around it. And then wrap it around and then tighten up the bolt. So these are going to alternate. So you've got 2 first rows, you know, one going 90 degrees to each other. So this one will then continue on that way, and it's going to be about 3 inches up for the first one. So I'll clamp that down, and then you kind of have to go down and try to get that twist out of there. It'll be a little easier once it gets cut off the roll, because that will allow it to continue turning. But in order to get it perfectly tight, which you can never really get these perfectly tight, but you'll have to do a little bit of handwork, and then it'll work out. All right, so here's taking off the barb, just to show you. Like I said, they're just wrapped around it. So if you can just untwist them, and then this whole piece will come right off. You gotta kind of, they're interlaced together. So there's one, and I don't want to drop that on the ground. And there's 2. You can cut them too if you cut that edge right there. I'm just trying to get it on here for the camera, but let me show you cutting it. Let me get the cutter out. I have my old tool vest on that has a gazillion holes in it. It's been retired, but my other one is in the house, the new house, and I don't feel like taking everything out of it. So you can just cut that like that, and then that'll come out. And of course it won't come out because I'm trying to do it on camera. There. So that's how you get the barb off. All right, so what I do is I take the tension tool, I put a little bit of pressure on it. Where's my gloves? right where the camera was. So then when I go down, I don't really like to put it in. I try not to put them in because it's easier to bend them in afterwards. But I go down and I look and see how where this kink is right here? So you got to get the kink out because that pressure, it's never going to pull the kink out. And then you want to make sure that there's not going to be a barb going in that area, because if there is a barb in that area, you got to take it off because the barb won't fit in there. But if you don't pre-straighten these, at least in my experience, it's not going to work. See, that one's in already, but that one's okay because there's no pressure on that. And again, it's hard to get these perfect. So that one's kind of in, but I'm going to take it out just to make it. That will take a lot of the, that will make the tension. You'll really be cranking on it to try to pull that through. That one's okay. This has a little, the ducks are wondering what's going on here. That one looks like it'll make it. This is a little bent here. All right. You want to make sure it's not stuck in the fence either, because if it's in the fence, it's not going to pull. That one we can put in. That will help. That barb is probably going to be in the way, so I'm going to remove that one and I'll come back and we'll continue. And then I've got this homemade tightening tool. You want to try to get it approximately where it's going to need to be, which looks like it's right in that vicinity. Get it as tight as you can. And you want to tighten away or towards the post. So you can see, if you look right there, I got the tension out from right there. See, that's not even really tight against there anymore. And you look at the rest of them and it's pretty good. You don't want to go too much because you could snap the wire. We don't want to snap the wire. That would not be good. And then we just tighten it down. And we can remove the tool. Like that. And then we just twist this. It doesn't really need the twist here because that's completely tight, but for good measure we will do it anyway. And I like to leave that sticking up as well. It leaves it like another barb. And just take a pair of ones that are not sharp anymore, and they don't like to cut them. There we go. And I leave those sticking up because that's a barb. So there you go. Two more to go on this one. This is the worst one though because it's the longest. All right, one of the last runs and the hardest run because I got to get it over the pen. So you gotta get creative. And how many things will this snag on before I get it over here? You know it's gonna stick to the roof. What do you know? Not too bad. I only got to do that 2 more times, so that'll work. All right, here we are in the video. So as you can see, everything's up. The ducks are happy. even though they still like to be inside whenever they see a bird. Right? What do you think, boys? Come on out. I filled in down this end, so this is all set. What I do need to do though is I'm going to get some rebar. I'm going to cut them into 2-foot lengths, and I'm going to pound them down in here so nothing can sneak underneath, because this isn't hard to dig back here because nothing is grown on it yet. I brought that existing fence all the way back down here. Not that I'm going to use, I still got to grade that out, but not really going to use this for anything, but just in case we have any other animals that come, or if somebody brings a dog or whatever. And it gives a second layer of protection, I suppose, keeps them away. So that's all set. As you saw, I was worried that a fox could still jump up onto the roof, because that, that's a metal roof on their actual sleeping pen. So I ran that across there, and their outdoor pen has fence over the top, so they can't really even walk on it, but I still ran it all the way across. So yeah, I think they're happy. We can have a little bit more peace of mind. Like I said, I got to get back working on the house. I've been working on this for a week between everything, so I've got to get back over there. But at least now they're happy. And what else? I put this gate, I put the short gate over here, so this way we got easy access in. This fence is hooked back up, so there's a look from that side. So yeah, so I think everything's good with that. If you have any questions, I tried to show how to install a chain link fence by yourself, which there's not too many videos on that. It's usually like the professionals saying how they do it, but they miss, not that they miss, but they don't think about it. They've been doing it for so long, they don't think about how it is for somebody who hasn't done it before or is doing it by themselves. So hopefully this helps. But anyway, at least you got to see that hopefully we won't have any more duck casualties in the future. So as usual, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.